everyone. Welcome to the Indie Basketball Podcast. And we have another special episode. As we did in our first episode, we're doing a fantasy draft. And I'm super excited because here we have some awesome people. And I'm going to introduce you to right now. So we have Evan Weiss. You know him from Into It, Over It, Storm Chasers, many a thing. Pet Symmetry.
There. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Julia Steiner from Rat Boys.
Hello. Thanks for having me as well.
And we have Hanif Abdurraqib. He's a writer, poet. Most recently, you got A Little Devil in America, Notes and Praise of Black Performance. Thank you very much for being here. It's so awesome to have all you guys here.
It's great to be here.
Hanif, I was telling Matt before you got on the call that I had first of all, I'm such a huge fan of yours. and I had a copy of my last tour I ever did. I had a copy of Crown Ain't Worth Much in the van that I read to death on a 7-week tour. I probably read it like 3 or 4 times. And I just wanted to let you know that because I as a person who makes art as well, it's really nice when I feel like other artists can let you know that.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, I've been following your work for a long time. So
I appreciate it. I'm glad that tour story didn't end with a van getting stolen. I feel like
no. It ended with the band. It ended with the band breaking up for a while, which is maybe worse. But that's the way things go. That's life.
Yeah, bands break up. The only band I was ever in broke up during its first show. So you've made it
on
further
stage.
Than I have. Yeah, there was like a whole thing. So
oh shit. Can we talk about that instead of basketball?
And I'm big fans of both of y'all's, and I really appreciate the chance to get to be here, especially because I feel like, are y'all on tour? I feel like Rat Boys is on tour.
Not quite
Not
yet.
yet.
We're leaving next week, so we're in the final stages of preparation.
The shows are coming.
I actually found out today that the tour that I was going to do in October is no longer happening. So
what?
Literally hours before this interview, I found out I was supposed to go out with Dashboard Confessional for like a month, and
oh man,
and they're I don't know when this is. I don't know when this is airing. If this happens to air before that, just bleep this part out. But I don't want to blow up Chris's spot. He was very sweet to invite me on that trip. But yes, so we're not going now. I'm actually like low key relieved, not because I was worried about getting sick or the health of me and my buddy Joe who's going to come with me, but there's just so much to do. Like we're so busy all the time, and so like I can turn that attention towards productive work.
Definitely,
that's true. I mean, I still haven't been to a concert, and who knows when I'll go or if I go. But I was excited to see Rat Boys. Perhaps, I mean, y'all aren't coming to Columbus, which is fine. I think a lot of people aren't coming. To Columbus, but I was gonna maybe go down to Louisville because that's like close enough. Or
that's with us. That's what.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Pet Symmetry. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You'll see us together. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one, or maybe aren't y'all playing like somewhere in Indiana, like Bloomington or something?
Yeah, that's on that same
tour.
So
yeah,
we'll be together.
I was considering one of those, which those drives aren't far, and I don't mind a road trip to see music. That's like the whole thing.
Do you live in Columbus?
Yeah, and like
nice.
People come here obviously, but I think there's just a thing where there's just a run on venues. Like every venue is full because everyone's like getting back.
We got a full Midwest squad here today.
Yeah, I love Ace of Cups. I'm thinking about Columbus now. I fucking love that room.
Ace is great. Ace is really great. One of my favorite places.
It's just so loud and raucous. And awesome.
Yeah, my whole family is from Dayton, Ohio originally, which is kind of in between Columbus and Cincinnati. So I was bummed when we only dropped off that show because we were able to hop on Riot Fest. It was a last minute thing, but I hope we get to come back to Ohio soon because it's where my roots are.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can do Riot Fest, you do Riot Fest. That's like
definitely. Cool. But
I'm happy you guys are all here. We got 3 Midwest people in here, 4 including me, and then
you're all Cubsed out today, man.
I am really.
Were you at the game or something?
It's unintentional, but Yeah, and I know you mentioned, Evan, before, like you're not the biggest basketball fan. Julia, I've had you on my Instagram page for Instagram Live, and we've talked a little bit of sports. And I know, Hanif, you were an early follower of indie basketball, so it's good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm a very large basketball fan, and well, this offseason hasn't been as exciting as one's past. I am very thrilled for the season to start.
You're carrying the team right now, Hanif.
Yeah.
I've stick mostly to hockey and baseball myself, but I grew up in Philadelphia with Iverson, and that's that's kind of where it tailed off for me. I moved to Chicago. I still haven't been to a Bulls game yet.
That's a place in time, man. Iverson in Philly.
Oh yeah,
that's a good place to be.
I was at the game where he stepped over fucking what's his face.
Oh, Ty Lue.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Wow, that's an all timer.
Yeah, it was fucking. It was sick. I mean, it was awesome. Like I just don't. I haven't followed the team in a really, really long time, but I'll still, like if the Sixers were in the play, I mean, they were in the playoffs last year. Sixers are in the playoffs, I start watching. But
for sure, yeah. Well, I mean, that's good because today's fantasy draft isn't necessarily about basketball. This is a music one. And I think you guys will all be right in line with this. And the topic for today is we're drafting sub pop artists all time. I will start by disqualifying. I just want to make sure if any of you have it on your list, Beach Boys do not count.
Yeah, I was going to say there's the artists that have done like just the one-off 7 inches.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are not
like a 7-inch on sub pop randomly, then that's it. I don't think we can count that one.
I think you need one LP. I think you need an LP like with a proper rollout. I'm glad that we're on the same page there.
For sure.
Because if you add that extra list, you get like Drive Like Jehu, you get Death Cab, you get Fugazi, you get all these other bands that are like, why wouldn't you choose those?
Well, I think there's still room, but I'm talking like Beach Boys is like, it was like when you think of Sub Pop, you're not thinking Beach Boys just because that was like they released it retroactively or whatever. But let's also, as ground rules for fantasy drafting, no spoilers. If you're reasoning for your pick, say don't name drop another artist, just because you don't want to spoil anyone else's pick, or keep the suspense.
Sure.
But we can get into it, and the way we'll determine the draft order for this is I'm going to have a double trivia question, and whoever is closest in the number will get to decide the order. So 1 second here.
Is it how many releases Sub Pop has done?
No, it's not. It is completely different, but it is actually basketball related. So I will pose this question to you. It's a little bit of both because this is indie basketball after all. In the 2016 All-Star Celebrity Game, how many points did Win Butler of Arcade Fire score?
Oh, I actually know this, I think, on the money. Well, no, I don't. Was that the year he was MVP?
22.
Evan's got 22.
I'm gonna go with I'll also go with 22.
That's tiebreaker.
Bold move.
There was a year, there was a year where he was like MVP, and then there was a year where he didn't play that well, and I don't remember which it was. So it's either like 22 or 0.
Julia, go with 22 also.
Is this Price is Right rules here?
21.
Yes, without going over.
One bucket.
I'm gonna go 23.
Ooh, 23. You're not leaving much margin for error. I will say the closest would be. Go ahead.
Is it higher than 23? Because that's why.
It's not.
Oh, fuck. Damn it.
So now I have to like flip a coin between you two. You guys went with the same number.
Yeah. Are we right? Was it
no? You were not 20. It was not 22. He scored 15 points. But he did have a double and had 14 rebounds.
Whoa, he had 14 rebounds.
Damn, dude.
Respectable.
For comparison, that same game, he was on a team with Tracy McGrady, who had 18 points.
How tall is Win Butler?
Damn.
It's like 6'6" or something.
I think he's 6'5",
guy, right? Yeah. Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow.
That's those celebrities are wild. There's that game where Arnie Duncan had like nearly a triple double. It's just wild.
You usually get someone showing up. I think in the same game, I'm trying to remember who the only other person to score on the other team was, but they blew them out because T-Mac and Win Butler were on the same team and they just dominated them. So All right.
Yep.
So I don't know how to decide this because you guys
I'll
picked
go-
the same number.
Hanif can go first. Go first, Hanif.
No, I don't want to go first. I'm
Well,
actually
Hanif, you pick the order.
okay. I'll go third. So say, I mean, I don't. If I'm going third, I don't really. Or maybe I should go second.
There's strategy involved because if you go in the middle, you get an even distribution. Because it's a snake draft. You're gonna go first, and then you got to go backwards.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that does change everything. I'm gonna go second for sure. So I'm gonna go Julia, me, and then Evan.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll take it.
And I am also participating in this, just so you know.
Oh,
you're
so you're
participating?
Oh shit! Where
Yeah.
where do you go?
That's why I said 16 because there's
Oh, that's
gonna be
right.
4 of us.
That's right. Well, now do I put myself?
Do you want me
third?
going last?
Yeah, sure. That works.
All right, works for me. All right, let's do
So I
it.
have the first pick. Wow.
First pick. So
Come on,
let's
we all
kick it
know
off.
what the first pick's gonna be. Everybody
First
knows
pick.
what the first pick is.
First pick of the Indie Basketball Fantasy Draft. Julia, you're on the clock.
Oof. So I've been thinking about this. See, I was thinking about this draft two different ways. At first, I thought it was just bands we like on Sub Pop, but then I was thinking, what if I'm forming like a basketball team of Sub Pop bands?
Ooh.
Like,
I want to
good?
call out in the end. We're gonna post all four of your picks, and we're gonna post it on Twitter and Instagram and have people vote on who had the best kind of lineup.
Oh,
Who had the best selection?
My
So
personal
there's strategy
selections will
involved.
not win. Yeah.
You may
My
want to
personal
play.
selection will
You
not
may want
win.
to play to the crowd.
I don't care about the crowd
Yeah,
vote.
fuck the crowd, bro.
This is my personal taste,
There you
my
go.
personal basketball philosophy. I think I'm gonna go the less obvious route. And also I was surprised. I didn't realize that these guys were on Sub Pop's roster, but I gotta go with my Kentucky guys, Daniel Martin Moore and Ben Sollee. Not sure if you guys are familiar, but
Oh.
there's some fantastic folk musicians from Louisville, where I grew up, and Kentucky boys know
Yeah.
something about basketball.
Damn, what an impressive
just-
first choice.
Wildcats.
So surprised.
Let's
That
just
makes
say
me
that
want to get weird.
they're awesome. So Ben Sollee is this guy. I grew up listening to these guys. They were like playing around town a lot, but he plays a cello, and so he would tour DIY tour just with his cello and play house shows and shit. I don't know. He's really cool. And the
I
record
might
they
have
did
seen him
together is
open for Andrew
awesome.
Bird a while ago.
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're buddies. But yeah, those guys rule. And straight up, they're from KY, so they gotta know.
You
know
gotta get
a
the
couple
sentimental pick.
Yeah.
on the court. They know their way around. Let's just say that.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if that's true, but
So
I like
what
to
was
think
it?
it
Ben
is.
Sollee and who was the other?
Daniel Martin Moore.
Are they a duo or?
Yeah, it was like a collaboration record that they did.
Gotcha.
That
Awesome.
record
It's-
is really great.
It is. It's kind of heartwarming, and for me, it's very nostalgic. But love it.
Awesome. First pick. All right. Good pick. Moving on. Number 2. Hanif, it's your pick.
Oh yeah, this one's easy for me. I'm gonna go Slater Kinney. Without
Nice.
That's
Ooh.
solid.
that was I mean, I just think an unstoppable run of great albums that they've had, and also truly I think one of the great American rock bands of all time, and so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
an easy pick.
I mean, Carrie Brownstein's so prolific, and
Yeah,
The best.
they just got. Weren't they just touring with Wilco and Namdi?
they
Yeah.
were just touring.
What a lineup.
Yeah.
it's an
Poor
incredible lineup.
Namdi. Poor Namdi hurting his hand.
I know. So
Yeah.
sad.
So we all ganged
came
together
back.
for him. Yeah. So glad he
Came
was
back
able
with
to raise
Jordan
money.
in the flu game. He came back. He was
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
dominated. Awesome. That's a solid pick. That was definitely up towards the top of my list. Cool. Evan, you are next.
Man, okay. So I've thought a lot about this, and I'm actually shocked that I get to make this pick. But I am born in 1984. I'm 30. I'll be about to turn 37. I was a absolute child of the 90s. I would not have the style of music that I make or the trajectory of becoming a musician without Sub Pop specifically in the 90s in two different eras. And but the first CD that I ever got was a gift from my parents on Christmas, and it was Nevermind by Nirvana, and I'd be remiss if I didn't choose Nirvana as my first pick.
That's the one. Yeah.
My favorite band of all time, is Pearl Jam. And I'm such a massive grunge fan. I was raised on it with fucking, any opportunity I would get to see live performances or get new records or anything. That was my shit up until about 1997. And still, like, now, I mean, I'm still such a huge fan, but like 97 was like kind of the second wave of like discovering punk and hardcore and emo and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that was kind of the transition into discovering what like independent, like indie rock was. But coming, my parents heard Nirvana on WXPN in Philadelphia. They heard it on college radio and they were like, Evan would like this. And they got me the CD. It's like, how cool is that? So, I'm actually stunned that I get to make this choice, but this is my choice, and I'm sticking to it.
I mean, dude, that's like the Sub Pop genesis right there. Like, that's how it all began.
I've been doing this thing since quarantine started, where I used to work for a record distributor in my early 20s, and have like most people who have love for fetish property. Mine is having a wild record collection, also a wild gear collection. It's something I've inherited from my mom, wanting to collect things, and so I started listening to my record collection at the beginning of quarantine with like a couple of specific rules that I could only listen to records during work, like 9 to 5. But right now I'm up to N, and I'm literally I just finished Nirvana yesterday. So this is also like fresh on my mind too. And like listening to Bleach for the first time in a long time, that record still kicks so much fucking ass. Like, it is so good still, like 40 years later, or 1989, right? So what is that? Yeah, like 30 years. 30, yeah. I guess younger than me, so 33.
Yeah,
right? Am I 40? But yeah, that's my pick.
That's a great pick. I mean, that's obviously top of mind, and especially topical with the stupid stuff with the Nevermind Baby, which is
oh my goodness,
so strange.
Wait, what happened with the Nevermind Baby?
Oh, so he's complaining that everyone can see his penis. He sued Nirvana.
Well,
so making a profit off of it his whole life.
So there's I don't know, and I know no one in this call would know what it would be like for your whole life to have your naked body on the cover of one of the single most iconic album covers of all time. Right. I don't think anyone in this call would know how to quite exactly process that information. I do have empathy for, after thinking about it more. Initially, my initial gut reaction was like, what the fuck? Who's this? Like, what the hell's going on? And I sat and thought about it. It was like, man, I could never even begin to comprehend what that would feel like to be on the Baby on Nevermind. Like, you didn't even have a choice. You're just like, you have to be that.
I think it's also the strange phrasing of how it was that he didn't consent as a baby.
Yeah,
like, which it's very strange. But I couldn't imagine. But he also has spent his whole life like promoting the fact that he's on the cover.
That is some gnarly head trip bullshit that I couldn't even begin to wrap.
True.
My puny brain cannot begin to wrap around that.
Yeah.
No way.
Very true. Very true. All right. So we got Nirvana off the board. And I'm going to close out the first round here. And Evan, you were mentioning earlier some bands that you didn't think counted, but I think there are some that make the cut in what you mentioned. And my first pick's going to be Death Cab.
1 7-inch.
Is that all they had on there?
The same amount of records as the Beach Boys. I don't think that's
is that the only thing they had on there?
The only thing. It's 1 7-inch.
You know what? I will retract. If that's the case, I will retract, and I'm gonna go with Sonic Youth.
Word up.
I mean, iconic also, and I feel like that's another one of those bands that I just associate with like Sub Pop and Seattle grunge and just all of that in that era. And I feel like such a major band, and love the sound, and it's just so good. So I feel like it's just synonymous, and I feel like that's an easy read.
Sure. Yeah.
But, yes.
What was the Sub Pop record? What's the Sonic Youth Sub Pop record? Because they were on SST, and then is it it's not Daydream. What's the?
I have to look that up.
I appreciate the fact checking.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are dealing with a true fan here.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking into this shit. Is it Jet Set? No, that was on SST. Not Sonic Nurse, is it?
I don't know, but I feel like we're gonna get into a lot of sticky situations here. There's so many artists that are on the roster.
Sonic Youth Sub Pop.
I feel like it's Goo. Yeah, no,
Goo is on SST. It's a split with Mudhoney. I don't know if that counts.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, if it's a split,
probably
I feel
done
like
more research. I mean, I do think a split would count, and I feel like I'm going to be less picky on what is there. I called out Beach Boys earlier. Maybe I'm regretting it.
Yeah, now you are.
I'm gonna stick with Sonic Youth here.
Okay, all right.
But then, since it is Snake, that means I get to go back to back. And my second pick is going to be the Shins.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice.
I feel like that is a very a band that definitely shifted my taste. And there's the whole cliche of the Garden State soundtrack and all that stuff. But they're early first 3 albums more or less, so good. And so like when I was in high school, I was just way deep into it. So
I mean, that to get that Garden State shit out of there, that record's awesome.
I know.
That record's so good. I saw them open for Modest Mouse, and it was like right before the first Sub Pop record came out, and Modest Mouse was awful, and the Shins just like blew them off the stage.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this cool new band? Like, this shit is great. Great pick.
Yeah, so good. And I wish they honestly have been very sparse with their releases lately. I feel like they've kind of taken a back seat, but yeah, I will always love the Shins, especially like Shoes Too Narrow, like and Wincing the Night Away and all that.
Is that remix is it a remix or just a remaster, the new O Inverted World?
I think it's just like a re-release with some bonus tracks. I haven't listened to the full thing yet, but yeah, they pretty much O Inverted World, and then they literally inverted the artwork.
O Inverted artwork.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, we're gonna swing back, and Evan, it's time for your second pick.
Oh my goodness, the other band that changed my life, Sunny Day Real Estate. Absolutely, my number 2. One of my, like, literally there would not be, like, I talk about like grunge sets you on the path of being like into rock music, or at least for me, sets me on the path of being into rock and roll. And discovering Sunny Day Real Estate was just like launching me into the path of discovering everything that I love about punk and melody and songwriting, and just a different way of looking at writing music that just to me is just so unbelievably beautiful and has such like an interesting story and arc with their, like, you know, with Will and with Nate joining Foo Fighters, and like that, like also kind of dovetailing in, and I discovered them in a record store when I was 13. It was this place called Tunes on the Dunes, which was like this record store that was at the Jersey Shore, kind of near where I grew up. And like, they were just playing on the stereo. I'm this like 13-year-old kid. Walk up to the counter, like, what the fuck is, I didn't say what the fuck. What the heck is this, sir?
A real high fidelity moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're playing LP2, and they're like, oh, it's this band Sunny Day Real Estate. Like, this is the record. They handed me the CD, and I was like, okay, this. And I like wrote it down. And Tunes was like a chain in our town. And I made we got home, and I took all my allowance money. I was like, Dad, take me to the record store. I got to find this band. And they didn't have LP2 at the store, but they had Diary and How It Feels to Be Something On. And I bought both of those as used CDs, this little kid. Awesome. And that set me on this wild dovetail where just the art alone, you could go back to the used record store and find other CDs that just like looked like that CD, you know, like artwork that you'd be like, oh, this looks like the Sunny Day record a little bit. So I feel like I probably like it also. And then that's how I found Jade Tree and Big Wheel Recreation. Totally. And, I remember there was a day where I went in and I bought, just from that first, like, I bought the Sunny Day records, went home, continued to fall in love with that band, went back and I bought like Braid's Age of Octane, the Cap and Jazz discography, and like Clarity by Jimmy Eat World in the same day, just because they looked like the Sunny Day record. You know, it's like,
I mean, that's a solid collection right there.
Right out of the gate, you're like, you got all the hits, but it's like, that's how much influence that band had on a whole world of other bands, that you could just look at the art and be like, this looks like this, like this has taken some sort of influence from this. Right. I would not be writing the music I would write today without that band. That is, totally. Number 2 behind PJ for me. So. Yeah,
for sure. And you know what? You mentioned going off into Foo Fighters. I think Jeremy Enig's solo work gets overlooked way too much. I think Jeremy Enig's solo work is so good.
It's unbelievable. I was really fortunate enough to, and you're breaking your own rule right now, talking about other artists on the Sub Pop catalog. But I was fortunate enough to tour with him, and it was just a short little run. It was like 5 days, and they say to not meet your heroes, but I couldn't have, like, just one of the warmest people I've ever met, who like is just unbelievably his attention to his craft and his modesty, like really made an impression on me. I just a great, unbelievable songwriter with a really unspoken, these days in the year 2021, kind of, to your point, like a talent that's a little overlooked. But those records are still just like, he hasn't, the quality of songwriting has not changed since 1997.
He even he did a film score for a movie, United States of Leland.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling in it. Yeah, very young Ryan Gosling in it. Solid pick. Cool. Let's keep going, Hanif. It's time for your second round pick.
Yeah, if I'm sticking, I guess we're sticking on a run of bands or groups that begin with the letter S. I'm going with Shabazz Palaces.
Nice.
Very good.
What a fucking band.
Yeah. It was like it was kind of like a perfect, for me. I was thinking somebody was gonna snatch them up, so I'm glad I got to do it. I mean, they're like the first. I don't know if they're not the only hip hop act on Sub Pop now, but they were the first for sure. And it just feels like, they release at their own pace, like this every 3-year thing or so. They never miss. It's an easy pick for me.
Totally. Yeah, they put out definitely some solid tracks. I mean, it does seem like there's a sparseness in between the releases, but every time it's like so solid. There's I'm trying to remember, the song "Shine a Light" is so good. I always listen to that one.
Yeah.
Very good pick. Cool. All right, so we're gonna close out round 2 with Julia.
Cool. Yeah, I am without a doubt gonna pick my boy Chad Van Galen, who is one of my all-time favorite songwriters, probably top 3. It's very similar actually to what we were just talking about, where he puts out a record like every 3 or 4 years, it feels like, and then kind of like retires to, or like, retreats back to his farm or whatever the fuck he does, and like his family, and he just goes home and like hangs out with his kids and draws and animates and like makes more weird instruments, and then comes out the next time with an even cooler and more amazing music video than before, because he like animates all his own videos. They're so cool. But I discovered him when I was like 18, and everything, his whole discography is a hit for me. So he, in my mind, he would be like the coach of my basketball team. Like because he's very like cerebral, but also kind of like easygoing, kind of like a Phil Jackson type character.
Sure.
In my brain.
Polished.
Yeah. So he's my coach for sure. I don't think, no shade to Chad, but I don't know how good he would be shooting free throws, So yeah. So he's with on the sideline. Yeah. Yeah. Love Chad forever.
It's a very good pick. Awesome. Okay.
Do I get to go again now?
Yeah, we're gonna swing it back around, and you get to go double.
Let's go, baby. Well, I got a couple different ways I could go here. I think I'm gonna throw it back like Evan did and take a band called Eric's Trip.
Oh, they're awesome.
Which is one of my favorite bands from the 90s. shout out to Julie Doiron, who has
They're
an
on my list.
amazing solo discography as well. But
Yeah.
she played bass in this band and fucking rocks. And yeah, I don't know. They were one of those bands I like discovered on YouTube back in the day, and it's like magical to me that used to be a really pure, like ad-free way to find music.
Yeah, right.
And it just isn't the same anymore. So lots of good memories listening to that band like late at night on my laptop, just
Totally.
like vibing out.
Didn't she do a split with Aquaville River?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know she like did a lot of stuff with Phil Elverum, like
Yeah,
Mount Erie, but
Mhm.
now I'm not familiar with that split. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's another solid one. Awesome.
Yeah, they roll.
Cool. So going back the other direction, back to you, Hanif.
Yeah, I'm bummed because I was gonna pick More Mother, but More Mother only has like a single that came out with something.
Yeah, you got me like second guessing all my picks. I'm like,
Just
shit.
go, just look them up. You got all this time.
I know.
Yeah.
Just go to Sub
I've
Pop.
been- Yeah, so this band was on Matador, but has a, if splits count, this band had a split with If You Hate Your Friends You're Not Alone that came out on Sub Pop. So I'm gonna use them. I'm gonna go Pretty Girls Make Graves.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Name I haven't heard actually in a long time.
So good. Oh my
One of the
God.
great bands of that kind of like early 2000s post-punk era. They had a quick run and then bowed out. I first saw them play in Chicago in maybe 2002 or 1.
Yeah.
Before their first album came out, and you could tell they didn't really have a lot of songs. They were open. It was one of those bills. I mean, y'all are Midwesterners, so I mean, Chicago, the early aughts and even in the mid aughts, those bills would have like a trillion fucking bands on them.
Yeah. You go to the Fireside Bowl and it's like
Yeah.
5 bands that don't sound the same. You're just like
Yeah.
just excited. Yeah.
So I think Pretty Girls Make Graves were just kind of on their first tour and like popped up, and they pulled up with like, they had the EP out, and so they just had like an EP's worth of songs. So it was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. They're one of the great bands that I think people forget about. And yeah, so if splits count, I'm gonna reach back for that split and go Pretty Girls Make Graves.
Yeah, we're absolutely gonna count it for sure. Yeah, very good pick. Cool. So we can go back. Evan, it's time for your third
Oh my
pick.
God. I'm like, there are so many good bands on the table.
I
And
know.
I'm like racking my brain. I'm looking at my list, just like racking my brain, which one I'm going to choose. But I've chosen a couple that had some formidable impact on me, and I'm going to keep rolling with that. I think my next choice is going to be, coming off Hanif talking about a Seattle band. I'm going to talk about the Murder City Devils, who were just such a wildly unique, like almost like circusy punk band from Seattle, but there is like really no one else like them. And their set of records that are on Sub Pop, I mean, pretty much everything except for the first EP, which was on this small label called Die Young, just ferocious punk music, like wildly cool stuff and just really ahead of its time. I remember the first time I heard them, I didn't like it. It's just like, what the fuck is this? This, I've never heard anything like this band before.
Right.
And it wasn't until like later in my, like probably when I was like 28 or 29 that it really began to click, like after they had broken up, and kind of regretted not seen them, play in Philadelphia when I had the opportunity to. So that actually one of the first shows I saw when I moved to Chicago was they'd reunited for a Riot Fest and it played at Congress Theater. And they were one of their reunion was one of the first things I got to see after living here. And it did not disappoint. It's just crazy, cool, dark, just this kind of drunken swagger. Like it's like a really mean version of the Hold Steady or something. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's no one else like them. And I don't think there ever will be anyone who could get close to pulling it off. There was a band from our world, Julie and I's world, called Comadre, which got really, really close.
I remember that band.
Comadre got so close,
Yeah.
but it still wasn't quite the same. And that is my third pick. Murder City Devils.
I'll tell you this, that The White Ghost has Blood on Its Hands Again is one of the great albums of like the 2010s, I think.
Yeah,
and,
I loved Comadre.
And it's a tough one. I sometimes wish Murder City Devils are still a band, but they're not like really putting stuff out, right?
I don't think they play anymore. I mean, maybe they're like doing that thing that all bands do now, which is just that they don't break up and that they, you know, like when the
play
paycheck is right,
when it's good. Yeah.
When they'll come out of retirement or, you know, and that's kind of how I feel like bands should be in general. And that's like, unless you like fucking hate each other, why would you break up? You know, just like you can just do things whenever you want. But yeah, maybe similarly to like a band like Rocket from the Crypt, you know, it's like one of those things that just happens when it happens. And maybe you're lucky enough to catch it. But that heyday of like Broken Bottles, you know, like that song 18 Wheels specifically, I think really speaks to what it's like to be on the road and like what it's like to miss someone at home. And that really resonates when you become a full-time touring musician, when you can find something that you can identify with. I really identified with that song specifically at that time in my life. And also just feeling like you could make music and be like, well, I don't give a fuck if anyone likes it. Not that that was their attitude, but that's the attitude that they present as a band. It makes you feel that way. Like this band doesn't give a goddamn shit about anything. They're on their own tip, you know, and maybe you're lucky enough to understand it. And totally. And that's a really inspiring attitude, I think, to present in music.
Yeah, I think I remember going to Warped Tour like maybe 2005, and I walked by the stage when they were playing, and I remember being like, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like they're wild, dude. At all.
If you see a band like The National now, where that dude's like smashing mic stands, like as far as I'm concerned, they got that shit from Murder City Devils.
Totally. Awesome. That's a good pick. All right, so I'm gonna close out the third round, and I'm gonna stay in a. You guys are going in a kind of a heavier realm with some classics. I'm going to stay in a lane that's kind of staying untouched. I went with the Shins. I'm going to go with Beach House, which most of their releases are on Sub Pop. Yeah. And that is a band that constantly releases stuff that I'm like so impressed with. Like, just they put out so much work, and it's so much of it is so good, and it continues to impress me. Like, yeah, it's just a good collection of albums, and they're all on Sub Pop, and I'm happy about that, and they're good. So
Baltimore's finest.
Yeah.
I love that band. That was the time, like, I don't know how to say this, but I saw them at a music festival and they sounded exactly like their records. Like exactly. And that was the most, and I wasn't even like kind of seeing them. I didn't even know they were playing the festival. I was just walking by and heard it. And I was like, oh wait, I thought it was like a song that was like the house music in between acts. Right. But then I looked over and I was like, oh fuck, that's like Beach House playing right now. Like, they sound awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it was really cool. That's like the most like faithful live sound to a recording I think I've ever heard.
It's also such a band that, like, when I think of them and I hear them in my head, I hear them so clearly in my head, like what they sound like. It's such a distinct like voice and sound, like all the reverb and just the vocals. It's so great.
Yeah, her voice is pretty unique.
I'm back. This is the final round. We're gonna close it out already. Yeah, there's only 4 rounds. And then, you know, afterwards we can throw out all the honorable mentions we want. That ones we were too scared to draft, whatever. But I'm gonna close out first pick of round 4. And I'm gonna keep in the same realm. I thought about taking a risk, but I'm not gonna. Postal Service.
Ooh, that's good.
It's a great pick.
Nice.
I mean, that record is still amazing.
It's like, you know, think of them as like the rookie who's like one and done. He's like, I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna drop a killer album, and I'm done. Like all-star in the first season.
Yeah, that's a brilliant album. It just so an unbelievably brilliant record, and it's one that's very rarely bitten. Like no one fucking leans into influence from that band. I feel like. Right. Yeah, great.
Definitely. And it's another one too, where it's like so many people have been like, they want a follow-up record and they just still haven't done it, which I almost respect more, because it's like, then you can leave that one album is like so perfect, and you don't have to worry about like what people are going to say about the follow-up 20 years, whatever, 15 years later it was. God, was that almost 20 years now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jeez, so long.
I had many a AIM away message.
Yes. For sure. Yeah. And then someone's like, is this about me? Always.
No, it's just a lyric, dog.
So that's my third and fourth round picks. And then we're gonna swing it back to Evan.
Man, I'm gonna choose one that's gonna bum Julia out, I think, because I know how much Julia likes this band. But in terms of like newer sub pop, this band just blew my fucking mind when they came out. I think that Zach Schwartz from Rogue Wave is one of the best songwriters of our time. I fucking love that band, and the 2 records that they did on Sub Pop, especially the second one, just like Descended Like Vultures specifically.
Yeah.
I listened to that record on repeat for like 2 or 3 years. It's just brilliant songs, and they're recorded in a super kind of like, it's sort of trashy, but also like just sounds awesome way, you know, like the hooks are there, the vibe is there. One of the great like overlooked bands, I think, from the generation, like the 2010s kind of generation. And they didn't get the credit, like to your point, making about like talking about the Shins and the Postal Service, like they didn't get the hype that those bands got, even though they existed in the same ecosystem.
Right.
But I like their songs more.
Yeah. I definitely think there's a level, like you said, like the Shins got the exposure from like Garden State. There was a degree of exposure they got because they were on the OC soundtrack, which was a big deal.
Rogue Wave is also in that movie Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. The song Eyes is in that movie, which is like one of their best songs, and it's like in a movie soundtrack, you know, like. But
I think like Michigan was in a commercial too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I discovered that record in high school, and I went on spring break like a week later, and I was obsessed with Out of the Shadow by Rogue Wave, and I heard the song Nourishment Nation in like 3 different stores over that spring break. I was like, that song was like following me around. I feel like they got some decent, like, I don't know, sync money or whatever.
Totally.
Dude,
just need a good publishing house. That's it.
Exactly. That's all you need, dude.
But that's like a testament to how good their songs are. It's like you just hear those riffs and it just makes you feel a certain way. It's like you just never have to be singing. You just like get it. You're like, oh wow, I do want to.
Dude, that's half of that's like part of the amazing thing about him is his lyrics can be so like nonsensical or silly, and they like feel, like you said, they feel like powerful or like meaningful. You know, like, it's just a vibe. And
he has a lyric about like picking out homes and picking out cheeses, and it's like such a fun lyric. You know, it's like that also had a big influence on me as a lyric writer too. It's like, oh, you can make like little tongue-in-cheek kind of references to things, but those are the lines that stick out because they're not just talking about like what we're gonna, tonight is the night, we only have tonight, you know, like whatever, who gives a fuck. But
the more specific the better, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
Great pick.
Yeah, that's a very good pick.
Incredible pick. Yeah.
Neef, what's your final pick going to be?
I'm going to pick another band that is disbanded that I wish would get back together and close out with Dum Dum Girls.
Nice.
Which I think would also maybe get me under the Dum Dum Girls umbrella, the Kristen Control solo album, which was also on Sub Pop. Yeah. But I also, if that counts, I'll also just take that in the Dum Dum Girls discography umbrella, because I think the Kristen's solo album is it's like more experimental, but it's just kind of an extension of like the last Dum Dum Girls record. But where they shine, I mean, I love their albums. I love like Only in Dreams, and I really love Too True. But I think their EPs are just really special. Like He Gets Me High is one of the great EPs that I've ever heard. It's like they operated so well in these 15-minute bursts. I don't personally, I mean, folks who know me knows I'm not like prescriptive or whatever. So, listen to whatever you want to listen to, but I have personally divested from the Smiths and whatnot. But there's on He Gets Me High, there's this cover of There's a Light That Never Goes Out that I'm always like, well, to me, like that's the original version. That is canonically how this song was meant to be, how this song was written and meant to be played. So yeah, Dum Dum Girls is my closing pick.
I appreciate that philosophy.
My old roommate Sam was the director of the Coming Down and Bedroom Eyes music videos.
No way, really?
Yeah.
So the Bedroom Eyes video is incredible.
Yeah, he did the music video for that. He also did a lot of the music videos for this band Crocodiles. But he was the singer of the band Since by Man, if you remember Since by Man.
Oh,
I remember Since by Man. Man,
Yeah.
they went hard.
Yeah. So Sam was the director for those, and we used to live together in Humboldt Park.
Awesome.
No way.
Small world.
Yeah.
All right, Julia. Last pick.
Last pick
Someone
of
need
the
to
draft.
choose from.
Oh boy, Mr. What do they call him? The last pick of the draft, Mr.
Mr.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr.
Yeah.
Irrelevant. Yeah. Well, I don't think this band's irrelevant. I had a couple bands I was thinking about picking who I'm not, after some internet searching, I'm not sure if they're actually on Sub Pop, even though they're on the website. So could talk about them in the honorable mentions category, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Bully, who's a very active band. They're like on tour right now. They were just in Chicago. I had tickets to see them, but I ended up not being able to go. Had to sell the tickets. But Alicia is just fucking awesome. Like, she has really awesome guitar tone. I love a good distorted guitar. She can like sing, scream, like scream or
So good.
seam, whatever. Really good. She's an amazing vocalist, and she like produces all of her own records. She like engineers everything herself, which is really badass. I think Sugar Egg was a really fucking good record. I don't know if it came out in 2020 or 2019, but I feel like it kind of got overlooked, probably because of COVID. But yeah, their most recent record, Sugar Egg, is really, really awesome. Lots of hooks.
I like the strategy of getting like a prospect, someone to look forward to. It's like someone to keep a lookout for.
Totally, yeah, because I think that was their first record on Sub Pop, Sugar Egg. And I'm not like obsessively a fan. Like, I don't know all their records in and out, but that one is definitely my favorite. It just like I don't know. The first song on the hook is like, I don't know where to start, and it's such a good opening track. It grabbed me real good. So
awesome.
Yeah, they're a good band.
Sweet.
Also, I'll say this too. One thing I wanted to mention was like, I don't know, I think we can all relate, like when you're just starting out booking your own shows and you like hit up bands that you really like to like book a show in their town or whatever. A lot of times you don't hear back, or I've gotten, I used to get a few replies that were like kind of rude or whatever, but I will say when I hit up Bully in 2014 to like book a show, they sent back a short but courteous reply, and I still appreciate that 7 years later. So
yeah, that's great. Awesome. So that is our draft of Sub Pop artists. There's quite a collection.
Do you want to do another round? Aren't basketball teams 5 players?
You want to go another round? Are we do the improvise here?
I would be glad to go another round.
Yeah,
I have extras, so I'm happy to do that.
I'm ready to go. I had a couple that I wish I could have picked.
Wait, so where are we at now in the draft?
So Julia's going again.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Okay. Well, I'll just say the band that I really wanted to pick, but jury's out on whether or not they're like actually on Sub Pop, is the Go Team. You guys know that band?
I have heard the Go Team. Yeah.
They're fucking awesome. They're a British band. They've been around for a while. And there's like 6 of them, so they could like be their own basketball team, I guess. But yeah, they rule. So Sean, my roommate and bandmate, turned me on to them on tour. I think like in the car, he would play their records a lot, and they're really fun and upbeat and catchy. And yeah, they're British, so I think Sub Pop puts out their music in America. Maybe they're on Memphis Industries, which is like a big British label, or not. We're gonna give it to you.
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna question it.
Cool. Yeah, let's just go with it.
Yeah, I love Go Team, especially the song "By Nothing Day" is such like a feel good, like it gets you in such a good mood so quickly.
Yes, I listened to them a lot in the last year, like when I was just, depressed.
Yeah.
Like needed a peppy little jam to boost me up.
Totally. They totally have that kind of Los Campesinos type of like the British, like happy-go-lucky vocals, despite talking about some serious subject matter sometimes.
True. Totally. They can fool you a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like that.
For sure. That's so we're this is the overtime round.
5th round.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep going. Hanif, your final pick.
Yeah, I'm stuck now. Well, because the band I thought had at least one release on Sub Pop did not have a release on Sub Pop. Def Cab's off the table, right?
I think I was going to pick them first round, and I think we said no go.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow up everybody's spot. I mean, I love Def Cab.
I appreciate your thoroughness, and it is very needed.
Gosh, I'd only put out. My brain was only doing 4, but I want to say is Fleet Foxes they've got something, right?
Yeah,
They sure
that's
do.
a good one.
I'm gonna, before I like stamp that pick, let me
They have everything but their most recent.
Right. I think I'm ready. I think I'm maybe ready. Oh, wait. No. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Let me make sure that this is gonna fly. This might not fly. Oh no, this is definitely flying. They've got at least 2 joints on Sub Pop, I think. I'm going Red House Painters.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
Most of that catalog is, and yes.
They were on my list.
Yeah, Red House Painters for sure. Just off of like, and I gotta be honest, like I don't think they have a ton on Sub Pop. I know the last thing from 01 is, and their best album is not on Sub Pop. But like Down Colorful Hill is like the one for me.
You're not a big fan of Old Ramon? That's my favorite one.
Old Ramon is good, but I think those first 2 are like stunning. And those aren't on Sub Pop, but I think it definitely doesn't matter. I'm going Red House Painters. All love to the Fleet Foxes, who, I think would have been a great final pick too. But as I was like thinking about stamping Fleet Foxes, I remembered vaguely that Red House Painters snuck one in on Sub Pop, maybe a couple, but that's mostly that one.
Is Red House Painters 1 on Sub Pop or no?
I think it's just 1. It's just that last one from 2001.
Yeah. All right, that's solid.
Very
pick.
sick.
Especially since we're going on the fly here with the bonus round.
Yeah.
We'll
see if any of the final 2 picks are Fleet Foxes now that they've been dropped.
No, I feel bad. I know we weren't supposed to bring up another band while picking a band, but I was really close to Fleet Foxes and then had to back out.
I'm gonna feel bad when Fleet Foxes goes undrafted and they're like, we were almost picked.
They listen to this.
All right, so your final pick, Evan.
All right, so similar to Hanif, I have one that I was kind of thinking about. It was like my backup, which is Codeine. Codeine was kind of my backup band, but I want to choose something a little fun. I want to choose something kind of Chicago centric. I'm not a Chicago native, but I feel like this band really represents Chicago specifically, especially like an older generation, but like one that's a really influential generation of Chicago. And that's a band called Five Style. I don't know if you know the band Five Style. The guitar player, his name is Billy Dolan. He's a complete alien. The way that he plays guitar is just so awesome and unique and specific to him. He's like one of those guitar players you could just hear him and know that it was him. And Five Style eventually broke off into being this other band called Heroic Doses, which was also on Sub Pop. Both of those bands are incredible. And if you find those records, I highly recommend them. But the band was kind of this like all-star group of what became some deep cut Chicago all-stars. Like the bassist was this guy named Leroy Bach, who played with Liz Phair. He's also in Wilco. And the drummer is this guy, John Herndon, who was in Tortoise. John's in Tortoise, and then Jeremy Jacobson, who did a project called The Lonesome Organist, and is also was in a band called Euphone, which was on J Tree for a really long time. They're just this really great representation of like Chicago indie in the mid '90s, and the songs are mathy and weird and funky, and they're all instrumental. There's no singing, so it's just like a really cool group of jazzy, noodly, fun guitar rock. Definitely recommend Five Style for sure.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have not heard them. I definitely need to listen to them. And I appreciate you keeping it in Chicago with 3/4 of us in Chicago.
Yeah, right.
So that leaves me with the final pick, and there's many bands still left. Fleet Foxes is going to go undrafted.
I feel awful.
Pour one
But
out.
I
Fleet
am gonna
Foxes is
go.
great. Fleet Foxes, they're
They are.
great. If any of those members are listening, I'm a big fan.
We all are, of course.
Me too.
I've actually never heard a Fleet Foxes song. Where should I start?
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
Honestly, their most recent album is very good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Helplessness
Uh,
Blues is my one. That's the one I
yeah.
love. But like,
Me too.
their most recent album is great.
I mean, their most
Dude,
popular
also-
song is White Winter Hymnal, but I'm not sure that
Yeah.
it
their
doesn't move
debut
the needle
record
for
is
me.
Amazing. Their self-titled, their debut record is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things now that's kind of like ubiquitous enough that it's cliche or like
Yeah,
dismissed,
that's what I
but
mean.
that nothing else ever sound like, I don't know. I didn't never heard
Yeah.
anything that sounded like that when it came
Agreed.
out. Anyway, they roll.
I am not picking Fleet Foxes, but I am going adjacent, and I'm staying in the folk realm, and I'm going with Iron and Wine.
Oh
who has
yeah.
Nice.
had
Oh, yeah.
entire discography on Sub Pop.
That's
Oh
So,
yeah.
and that's a very large discography.
Incredible records. Just
so much,
good.
so much. And it's like, to me, Iron and Wine's like the soundtrack of summertime. When it's honestly, Iron and Wine is the soundtrack of summertime, and then it also transitions into fall very easily.
Yeah,
Like
it does.
it's got a little bit of both. And yeah, I mean, so good. And especially too, more recently, he had the albums with even actually more recently and long time ago with Calexico. Those are so good.
Oh, those are amazing.
Um,
His one record, I forget the name right now. It's like it's like a lot of horns. It's like a little darker. Ghost on Ghost. Oh man, what a gorgeous, underrated Iron and Wine record. Just like beautiful composition. And he continues to work with Brian Deck, who's a Chicago guy. And Brian's production is just like suits his music so well.
yeah.
It's just so uniquely recorded.
Yeah, he works with a lot, like the Ben Birdwell album's really good too, with him. And yeah, there's just so much there. It's funny too that now that I've drafted Iron and Wine and they did their cover of Such Great Heights when I also drafted Postal Service.
Nice.
I feel like my team is very connected now.
Hey, that's important.
That's
for
a good
basketball
team.
team.
Chemistry is very important.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
I saw that Sam Beam dude one time walking outside of Logan Liquors.
How big
He's-
was his beard?
Yeah,
In
he's
Logan
not
Square,
mistakable.
big.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
beard.
That's how I
Yeah.
knew it was him. Yeah, dude, and he's tall. And he's wearing like leather, like very nice leather boots. I was like,
Yeah,
damn, dude.
that makes
like,
sense.
That's you. Yeah, it was great.
You think he can dunk in those boots?
Oh, yeah. They gave him a few extra inches.
He's got
Yeah.
some height though. He's not super short, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's
Oh,
pretty
he
tall.
was a tall dude. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Yeah, for sure. So that wraps up. We did 5 full rounds. I'm gonna go and recap everyone's lineup, so to speak. Let me drop mine down there. So Julia, your team, we got Ben Sully and Daniel Martin Moore, Chad Van Galen. Remind me of the band. Is it Eric Strip? What was it?
Eric's
Eric's
Trip.
Trip. Like
Yeah,
the
Eric's
name
Trip.
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric Strip, Bully, and the Go Team.
Whoa. That's good.
It's a good team.
That's an all-star team
That's
right
good.
there.
That's a great team.
Hanif, you got Sleater Kinney, Shabazz Palaces, Pretty Girls Make Graves, Dumb Dumb Girls, and Red House Painters. That is a deep lineup right
It's a
there.
good one.
That's
Go on.
hot.
Evan, you got Nirvana, Sunny Day Real Estate, Murder City Devils, Rogue Wave, and Five Style. You got a really well balanced team there.
That's like my record collection.
You got the
It's
big
like toes
hitters.
the line of all that shit.
You get Murder City Devils will surprise you, and Five Style is a little quiet one who's like kind of like you need to know.
That's the secret. That's the secret shit. I had to pick a band that like maybe I want people to hear that they don't know.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
that's that band.
That's great, and I'm hoping coming out of this, a lot of people will have never heard some of these bands and check them out. And my picks were Sonic Youth, The Shins, Beach House, Postal Service, and Iron and Wine.
It's pretty
Love it.
heavy hitting. That's a heavy hitting set of bands right there. You're playing to the crowd with that one.
I am playing the crowd a little bit. So yeah, we got some solid picks there. Is there anyone that we didn't pick that you feel was missed?
Yes, absolutely. Soundgarden isn't on there. That's a big one. Sebadoh isn't on there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great band. Piss Jeans wasn't on there. That's a fucking cool band.
Yeah.
Mogwai wasn't on that list.
Oh
which I
yeah,
thought was a really
Mogwai,
good
Damien
choice.
Gerardo.
Yeah, Low. Damien Gerardo was actually one that I almost chose. His I think his record's called Chairs, or
I Break Chairs.
It's like his rock record, and that's like one of the ones on Sub Pop.
That's how I first found him. Yeah.
Oh my God, that record is brilliant. Band
of
Horses.
Low was a tough one. Yeah, Low was a tough one to pass up for me.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I was actually gonna take a risk and go with a comedy album, because Sub Pop has great comedy albums.
Yeah, like the David Cross. Yeah.
Oh my God, so good.
I thought Hot Heat would have been an interesting one.
A time capsule for sure.
Yeah.
And then I also Clipping is on Sub Pop.
Yeah.
So that's another one I thought about taking last round.
Yeah. Album
Washed
Leaf
Out.
is another one.
Washed Out. Yeah, there's
so many
plenty,
good
man.
What's so cool about Sub Pop is it's almost like they're just like one step ahead of the curve always. You know, and it's like there's this attitude with what they put out where it's like you could tell they're just doing what they want, but they also just have such a good such a good ear for what's going to be the next really awesome thing. You know,
I mean, how many record labels can say they have bands that range from Nirvana to like Pedro the Lion to like Clipping and like Pat Oswalt? It's just like they're genreless. That's why Sub Pop is so awesome.
Yeah, truly.
Oh, so this is great. We got some good tunes. Before we go, do you guys want to talk about what you got going on? Evan, let's start with you.
Oh my God. So my playing a band called Pet Symmetry. We just put a record out called Future Suits. It came out in August. When is this airing, Matt?
Probably in the next day or two.
Okay, so like pretty quickly. There'll be we are, about a year ago, we formed a community-funded record label project called Storm Chasers Limited, which we run through Patreon specifically, but also produce a great deal of like interview content and podcast stuff. And we also release a vinyl record every single month, which Julia actually was fortunate enough to be a part of. We did the reissue of their very first EP with the release of Happy Birthday Rap Boys, which had come out in June, maybe April. Wow, was that long ago? So we've just hit our 1 year mark in August. You could sign up at patreon.com/Storm Chasers Limited, but we're also releasing records all the time, and those are new records, old records, reissues, and it's kind of from this collective of musicians that spans about like 20 to 25 people. And then They're is going to be putting out a record next year. Pet Sem will probably be doing another record next year. There's a bunch of new Into It Over It stuff that's at the pressing plant. So there's no shortage of new material and shows and tours and all sorts of things that are coming. And I'm just constantly busy. And if you want to stay posted, check out my Instagram, which is at Into It Over It.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I actually just joined the Storm Chasers Discord today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
It's wild in there.
It's fucking it is a freak show in the Discord. But that is, we've really created this super cool community of people and connected a lot of really excellent human beings who are just excited about art and music. And I feel very fortunate that the bands that I play in have like a really excellent fan base. It's been super cool to be able to because I'm not desperate to be back on I love playing shows, but I'm not desperate to be back on the road. So to be creative and in the studio and have a vehicle to keep that machine moving, one that's also fully central, located around Chicago. Like the pressing plant we use is in the same building as the recording studio we built. So everything is local funded, locally sourced. We're supporting our local economy. We're, the people who are pressing my records are people who I've worked with before in the past, have been friends with for years. So it's like, that is also something really, really exciting that we can be completely self-reliant, awesome. Own our own art and work towards, not having anyone's hands in our pockets, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Cool. Julia, what do you got going on?
Well, my band Rap Boys is heading out on tour next week. First tour since July 2019. So we're extremely stoked for that. Going out with a band called Wild Pink, which is one of my favorite bands, some of our best friends. So that's gonna be sick. We put out a record back in April 1st, called Happy Birthday Rap Boy, which are brand new recordings of 10 of our earliest songs that we recorded in dorm rooms with extremely shitty computer microphones. So updated those a little bit. That was fun. And we put out a record last year, 2 weeks before the world fell apart, called Printer's Devil, and we haven't gotten to tour on that. So this is kind of like our chance finally. So very stoked. And then we'll be on tour in October for a few days with Pet Symmetry, Evan's band. So extremely stoked for that. And hopefully this winter we'll be recording a new record. So lots of stuff to look forward to.
So much going on. Hanif, what about you?
Well, I'll just say real quick that Rat Boys record that came out last year, I loved it. And it was also kind of the soundtrack to my, last winter when things, or last like winter, spring, whatever, when things kind of collapsed, I was teaching in Iowa. And then of course I wasn't. And so there was this point where I had to like, and because of so much uncertainty and I think, denial, the school's very much like, we're going to go on spring break, but like leave all your stuff here because we might come back. And I was like, I'm not coming back to this shit. But I left my stuff anyway, because I was like, in case y'all do, like, I don't want to have to, I was living in Columbus, but I had an apartment there. I say all this to say the Rat Boys album was my soundtrack to my drive back to get my stuff from Iowa and then drive. Yeah. And it was great company. It was like that and the like Waxahachie album.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Dang. That's a high compliment. I love that record. Thanks, dude.
It was a bad road trip, but there were good tunes. What I'm working on now, right now I'm kind of in book research mode for my next book, which won't be out until like 2023, but it is kind of about basketball. It's about basketball movies mapped onto the Ohio basketball landscape. And it's going to, of course, center on LeBron James, who's like my age and who was in high school when I was in high school and all this stuff. And in the meantime, I'm doing the stuff I usually do, like the Objective Sound podcast and running 6805, which is a music archival and playlist website with essays from all kinds of writers from all kinds of walks of life about one album that's changed their life. And 6805 is kind of like a weird passion project that has it's taken on a really cool life of its own. And the essay that actually ran maybe last week was about a sub pop band. It was someone wrote about Carissa's Weird, I think.
Oh my god!
Oh, cool.
And so
that's a good one.
You can read that. Wait, when is this coming out?
A couple days.
Oh, that's
what
I'm saying. I got all this shit I can't talk about. Yeah. It's like,
I think this has been announced, but it's not going to be out until the 11th of September. But I have kind of like a one-off audio documentary concept album project that is coming out on Pineapple Street about the Fugees album, The Score. That is really cool, and I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for people to hear it.
Awesome. I've got so much good stuff going on. It's great. But I want to thank you all for being here. This has been a lot of fun.
Matt, what do you have going on? What are you doing?
Well, I do indie basketball, as you guys know. So
season's coming up.
Yeah, it is coming up. Very excited. We do other podcast episodes where I have on musicians to talk about both music and hoops. And I run the Instagram page with all the silly meme posts. Nice. We also have a Discord, which is starting to grow, which is in its early stages, but it's growing. So if you want to join in some conversation, we're on Discord there, Instagram, Twitter, all that. Otherwise, I'm working in advertising. That's what I do.
Same, man. Same, brother.
But yeah, I want to thank you guys for joining. This has been a lot of fun. So it's been a great time.
Nice one.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for letting me hang out.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone. Thanks for listening.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you, man.
Yeah.